So for me, the Browning Cinema has always been my classroom. I'm delighted that here I am at a THX certified theatre with 200 and something seats, and I have a class of 20 students, and we have the run of the place. And of course, our students have no idea how lucky they are. You know, I remember when you had to bring in a projector and you had to rent reels of film long before we had DVDs. You know, that's when I started teaching Shakespeare on film. And they don't realize just what a joy it is to work in this space. Repurposing other rooms into the right set of rooms, well, any room becomes in the end a room. And if you can get a lot of students in the right way and engage them together, that for me then makes it into a classroom. So other things that are more difficult at the moment, yes, they're sitting one behind the other in kind of columns up the room, and I don't think they see each other in the same way. They literally can't see each other. That's a small price to pay, and I think it's great that the facilities of DPAC have the flexibility to turn them into classrooms. Classrooms for historians, classrooms for political scientists, classrooms for whoever needs this size classroom with all the social distancing. There is a company called Theatre of War, who we're planning on bringing to Notre Dame, as and when that becomes possible. And they do work which is really designed to explore issues of things like war trauma using Greek tragedy. And they started doing them online. And the first one I went to had an astonishing A-list cast, people like Frances McDormand and Oscar Isaac and David Strathairn and so on. And how many people were in the audience? 12,000. 12,000 watching that event live, simultaneously, for theatre. That was just a thrill. Absolute thrill. It's a strange time. You know, during spring break, last spring break, the last spring break we'll probably have had for some years, I went to London because I wanted to catch a particular production, and I went to see the production, and on the train back up to Cambridge in England, I got the news we were going online, and I thought, here we go. So the arts have come in many respects to a halt. You know, there is no live theatre in the way I know live theatre. What's become available is such a mass of wonderful material online. Both the release of recordings of theatre performances that before were firewalled or paywalled or whatever, that suddenly have been freely available. That's been thrilling. I've caught up with productions I've missed all over the world. And people are now doing Zoom theatre in really exciting and interesting ways. So they've developed, it's a very simple technology, but it's a necessary technology. You know, when you're looking at Zoom and there are a bunch of people in front of you in the same meeting, and none of them know where on the screen they are in relation to the others. But you can do Zoom theatre now so that I know that that other actor is down there. So if I talk down there, I'm actually talking to him. And if I talk there, I'm talking to another actor. And the discovery of simple digital technologies that make theatre possible even while each actor is in a completely different space, that's thrilling. That is absolutely thrilling. I don't think I can do one word. I can do a few words. Surprising, reassuring, strangely familiar, familiarly strange. All of those things seem to me to capture the oddity of the new normal. I've always been actually fairly low tech in the classroom. I don't work with a massive PowerPoint. I need a whiteboard, I need students talking, and I need to get them talking. I think it's easier to get them talking when they're in front of you than when they're on Zoom, and they enjoy that. But by and large, it's not that I've been missing out on things, except for one thing that happened when we all suddenly went online, which is this is a course called Shakespeare on the Big Screen. And suddenly the whole point of the class, which is we watch a movie together up on the big screen in the way that the movie was intended to be seen, went away when they had to watch a movie on their laptops or their phones or whatever else they were using. But thankfully there were only a couple of those and we got out the other side. So if we can keep going in this fashion, I'll get to the end of the semester absolutely overjoyed. I have to say, I came at the beginning of the semester with a sense of foreboding. We'll be lucky if we get to September. And when we went online, I thought, you see, I was right all along. And then we solved it. And we're back in person. And that delight of being in a room with the students all thinking together and watching together, we're doing that in the way that I really enjoy. I have no real notion what it's like for the students. I know that they were very excited to be back in the classroom after the experience of the second half of the spring semester. And one of them talked to me about how it had really just reawakened her joy in learning, just to be back in the room in person. The tech side of things is a bit forbidding. And I have to say, even though I can manage with a number of things, there's always this problem when there's one or two or more on Zoom and the rest of the class in front of you. I think the funniest moment for me so far was that when we had our first proper online session, the number who came into the Zoom room and went, "Oh my gosh, you've got a beard," because they'd never seen me without a face mask on. But overall, the Deepak staff have been wonderful in support and in getting everything running smoothly. And this is what we have to deal with. And there's no way of pretending, wouldn't it be better if, because this is as good as we can make it.